It's going to take a little longer than 2 minutes. In the 11 months or so from when I submitted the final version of my book manuscript last March to when I received a hard copy a few weeks ago, I often wondered about when exactly it would come out. Efforts to pin my production editor down rarely yielded anything more specific than in time for the spring 2012 catalog. In the end, maybe this is just the new way of finding things out, I first learned of the publication date not from the press itself, but from Amazon. And not from the US site, but from Amazon.uk, where for a long time the book was simply listed as Modern Jew. Yes, it's true. I did waste a lot of time Googling this. The official publication date was February 21st, 2012. Now, I've since learned that these days official publication dates don't count for much. The books arrive at the warehouses of Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and the like, and are immediately made available for order, even if officially the book hasn't even come out yet. But still, I like to think of February 21st as the date the book came out, because the serendipity of it is precious. February 21st is what we would call in Yiddish, which Spinoza, as a Sephardic Jew, never spoke, Spinoza's secular Yortzeit. Spinoza died of tuberculosis at the age of 44 on Sunday, February 21st, 1677. Which would mean that this book, A History of Spinoza's Many Afterlives in Modern Jewish Culture, was published on the 385th anniversary of Spinoza's death. But it gets even better, because February 21st also marks one of the highlights, or lowlights, depending on one's point of view, of Spinoza's Jewish reception, and definitely, I think, one of the juiciest episodes in my book. So, if you'll permit me just to read from the very beginning of chapter 5 of my book. I promise this will not be a long reading, but the chapter is called From the Heights of Mount Scopus, Joseph Klausner and the Zionist Rehabilitation of Spinoza. On February 21st, 1927, the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, then in only its third year of existence, commemorated Spinoza on the 250th anniversary of his death. Its afternoon assembly was one of several tributes held around the globe to mark the occasion, the grandest of which was clearly a 4-day conference in The Hague, the city where Spinoza had died in 1677. Modest in comparison, the Jerusalem event nevertheless packed the main auditorium on Mount Scopus, with an audience that, in addition to the expected mix of students, lecturers, professors, and university officials, contained many leading figures in the Jewish community of Palestine known as the Yishuv. Sitting at the dais next to Rabbi Judah Magnus, the American-born chancellor, were the acclaimed Hebrew poets Chaim Nachman Bialik and Yaakov Kahan, as well as the veteran Russian Zionist Menachem Ussishkin. It was Magnus who opened the event by reading aloud a missive in both Hebrew and Latin that had been sent by the university to the gathering in The Hague. In the letter, he praised Spinoza as, quote, a son of his people in both his religious enthusiasm and bold knowledge of God, and declared this day of remembrance a university holiday. Next to speak was Professor Joseph Klausner, who recently had been hired by the university to serve as the first chair of Hebrew literature. A longtime member of the Zionist intellectual elite, the Russian-born Klausner had 3 decades of Hebrew writing and editing behind him and a litany of scholarly works to his name, perhaps most germanely his biography of Jesus of Nazareth, the first of its kind in Hebrew, and a subject of international controversy among both Jews and Christians from its publication in 1922. Klausner introduced his speech, which was later published under the title The Jewish Character of Spinoza's Philosophy, as an attempt to give a strictly objective assessment of a topic long distorted by myth and misrepresentation. Throughout, he zigzagged between negative and positive opinions of the Jewishness of Spinoza and his system, at one minute criticizing the effort to paper over differences between Judaism and Spinozism, at another appearing to do just that. Yet it was not this ambivalence, but the exuberance of his finale that would be remembered. Finished, to Spinoza the Jew, it is declared 250 years after his death, from the heights of Mount Scopus, from our temple in miniature, the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, the cherem, the ban, is nullified. The sin of Judaism against you is removed, and your offense against her atoned for. Our brother are you, our brother are you, our brother are you. So, February 21st turns out to also be the 85th anniversary of the first attempt ever to lift the ban, lift the cherem on Spinoza, which, incidentally, just a little more than 1 month from now, there's this Spinoza play, David Ives' New Jerusalem, a play about Spinoza's excommunication, which is returning to Theater J at the DCJCC. And on the final day, they're having an all-day Spinozium, where, that's not my humor, where, among other things, it will be debated whether the cherem on Spinoza should be lifted or not. Apparently, the audience will be voting on this. So, not entirely dead and buried. There are so many people to thank. I want to, of course, thank Gelman Library, Jack Siggins, for agreeing to host this event. Brad Sabin-Hill, who ever since I've arrived here has been just a wonderful, shared my interest in Spinoza, just an unbelievable resource in Hebrew and Yiddish, Spinozana. I'm really blown away by this kind of mini exhibit that's been put together, and I'm very grateful for it. I see that Rob Eisen is here, who helped to secure a few years ago the Budelsky money that allowed me to do some of the archival research, some last-minute archival research that ended up enriching this book considerably. Max Tipton, whom I studied Yiddish with to help me write my chapter on Isaac Bashevis Singer. Bill Becker, of course, thank you for the kind words, for your calm, easygoing leadership of the department that's helped me to finish this with minimal stress. I see Tyler Enbinder in the back, who was the chair of the history department when I came to GW, and was very helpful mentoring in those early years. Of course, Jenna, this event is absolutely beautiful that you've put together. Since you've arrived, we've worked on several projects together, from developing the course at the Library of Congress in the history of the Jewish book, to the new colloquium in Judaic Studies, Jewish Studies here that's been so successful. And I very much appreciate just the vision, the energy, the polish that you've brought to Judaic Studies. And finally, I think I saw that Dean Barrett, in the back. So thank you for coming. Thank you. I've benefited also from the college's financial support during summers for additional research. Thank you for the support for both the history department and for the program in Judaic Studies. And finally, thank you to all of you. Thank you to my family, to my wife, to my parents for coming today.
Wonderful opportunity for more food, more conversation, and for gazing upon Spinoza in all of his bibliographical. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.